Should you get an Epson EcoTank printer that is using ink bottles or a more traditional inkjet printer that uses ink cartridges? Well, in this video, we'll be comparing the cost associated with each of these choices, and also I'll go through all the pros and cons for each of these two different technologies. So let's get started. Before going any further, let me just show you how each of these works. So for the Epson EcoTank printer, you just have to open this trap over here, and each different inks have their own separate tanks that you need to fill up very easily. You just open the cap, you put it down there, and you pour it. What's cool about this is that you do not need to buy necessarily Epson inks. You can buy any brand, since the printer will not know what you're putting inside of these tanks. For the more traditional inkjet printer, it's working with two different cartridges, one black one and one color. These do not hold that much ink, and every time one runs out, you need to buy a new one and to throw this one in the garbage. You cannot refill them. Additionally, some brands, because right here I have a Canon one, but what I will say in this video applies to any other inkjet printers working with cartridges. Some of them do not accept any third-party cartridges, so sometimes you're obligated to get the Canon one for a Canon printer or the HP one for an HP printer, because the printer can actually recognize which brand it is by scanning those small contacts there. So let's compare the price and check which one is the cheapest to operate. So over here for the Epson EcoTank that I have, if I'm looking to buy original ink from Amazon, the black ink is at about under $13, and the 3 colors ones comes in a set for $41. So just a bit above $50 for all the ink you need, and these are rated to be able to print 6,000 pages. But for this video, we'll be a bit more realistic and say that you'll be able to print 5,000 pages using these bottles, just to be a bit more conservative. For a basic Epson EcoTank printer like the one I have, it's about $200 US, and it comes with the ink bottles included. So it's very cool. You get the printer and you also be able to print 5,000 pages right away without buying anything else. The Canon printer that I have right there, well, it's not exactly this one. Mine is a bit an older model, but technically you can get them for about under $70 when they're on sale, which is a lot cheaper than an EcoTank. So if we're just comparing the printer cost, definitely inkjet printer with ink cartridges is cheaper to get at first, because the company base their profits on the ink you'll buy and not on the printer itself. These are the cartridges that are compatible with that printer, and the prices over here are very similar if you're going to get an HP or a Canon. So here we have an original Canon pack with the black ink and the color ink. Both comes at $30, and for $30 you're able to print 180 pages, a lot less. And for this video, we'll say that you'll be able to print 150 color pages instead, again, just to be more conservative. So the ink cost cheaper on the Canon side, but you get a fraction, a very small fraction of the pages compared to the Epson one. So now let's check how much it cost per page. So based on these prices, yes, the EcoTank printer over here cost a lot more than the cartridge printer. But then if we look at the ink cost, so here $60 for 5,000 pages, this gives us a total of 1.2 cents per page printed. While for the ink cartridge printer, it gives us 20 cents per page printed. It's almost 20 times cheaper to print with the EcoTank. If we're looking at the pages over here, if you print 300 pages per month with this printer, the EcoTank, it will cost you $3.6, and with the Canon inkjet, it will cost you $60. And if you're printing higher volumes, if you have a small business, these numbers add up quite quickly. I mean, 20 times cheaper is quite a lot. So definitely if we're just looking at the price, There's no competition here. Doesn't mean that you should never get one of these printers. Well, let's see. Let's compare the pros and cons, because there's much more than just the price. But before doing this, I need to mention something very important that sometimes people forget. It's that if you do not use those inkjet printers, after a few weeks or sometimes even less, those print heads will get clogged on the ink cartridge. Over here, if we look closely, the print head is integrated inside of this cartridge. So the ink is over here and the print head is over there. So if this clogs out, and I think everyone who had an inkjet printer got into this problem at some point, well, you'll have to replace this cartridge. There's also a way to clean it. I'll have some videos on my channel, but if you're not able to clean the cartridge because it has been sitting for a long time, maybe you're in a vacation, let's say, you just have to buy a new one and your problem will be gone. You'll have a new ink cartridge and there's nothing inside that you'll need to replace. If your print heads get clogged on your EcoTank printer, it's much more complicated. You cannot simply remove a piece like this, replace it for 30 bucks and continue printing. They sell some cleaning kits on Amazon and other websites that help you clean, but you'll need to open the printer and shoot some products with a syringe. It's not very easy. At least if you're doing for the first time, you'll have to watch some videos and learn how to do it. And sometimes, even after doing this, it does not work. So this is something to keep in mind. For example, my Epson EcoTank over here, I didn't use it for about a week and a half. And right now I'm using electrical heating since we're during the winter and the humidity in the air is about, I don't know, I think less than 20%. It means that everything is very dry and everything dries out quickly. And after only a week and a half, let me show you here, we can already see some lines appearing on this print. It means that the print head was clogged. Fortunately, if it's something very small and benign like this, there's a function on the printer to be able to clean the print heads. So if it's nothing serious, it just began to clog, well, this can be done in just 2 minutes and your problem will disappear. But if, let's say, I would have waited a month before cleaning those print heads at 17% humidity in the air, there's a good chances that even after doing the small trick on the screen, nothing would have fixed this problem. So this is definitely one of the pros of the cartridge printer, is that if you clogged your print heads, if you're going on vacation for a month, you forget about your printer, you come back, they're clogged, you just have to buy a new cartridge and you do not have to learn anything or have some technical knowledge how to fix your printer. This can be done in just a few minutes. Since we're talking about the pros of a cartridge-based printer, if you do not print many pages a month, so let's say you only print 10 color pages, well, it will be cheaper for a long time. If we take a look here, so a set of cartridges prints for 150 times, so you're printing 10 pages a month. This means that those cartridges, as long as they do not clog, will last you 15 months. So if you paid your printer $70 plus a set of ink cartridges, you'll be at around $100 for those 15 months. While the Epson EcoTank printer, sure, you can print 5,000 pages, but it will cost you $200 to acquire one of those printers. So this can still be cheaper for people that do not print very often. Now let's talk about the pros of the Epson EcoTank. Obviously, we already discussed the price, but what are the other ones? Well, this printer will save you time since you won't have to buy cartridges very often to go to the store or check Amazon. They last for a long time. You do not have to worry about them. You do not have to shop for ink often. Therefore, it saves you time. Another good thing is that, let's say your cyan color over here is completely empty because you probably use it more than the other ones. Well, the printer will still work even if all your colors are depleted and only one is left. So if you want to print in black and white, but you do not have any ink in those ink tanks, no problems, it will still work. If you get a cartridge-based printer, if one of the color is depleted, so let's say over here you do not have cyan, the cartridge will not be usable anymore. The printer will tell you, hey, go buy a new one, even though you still have other colors left inside, we cannot use it. This one, the EcoTank, does not have such a limitation. If you do not print in color, you can also just get this printer, fill it up with black ink, and it will still work perfectly. And finally, another good point about this EcoTank printer is that you do not waste a lot of plastic. Having to buy cartridges very often makes a lot of waste. This is plastic. They say that they can recycle them, but I'm not so sure about that. I'm pretty sure this plastic still goes to waste, or in any cases, just recycling these will need some energy, while these, you buy them once and you may have to replace them every 2 years, so there's a lot less plastic wasted. So this was it. I hope this video was helpful. If you have other things to add to what I just said, please write a comment down below. Tell me which one you prefer. Subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next video.